1989 saw the birth of Disney's adult playground.
Pleasure Island, we never heard of it.
Then again, that was part of the allure, right?
Filled with deeply themed restaurants and nightclubs, it offered a unique experience unlike anything else at Disney World.
When Pleasure Island first opened, that was the place to be.
Because you were there because you wanted to be there, not just because you were passing through.
Crowds flocked to downtown Disney, some of which caused a bit more trouble than Disney had hoped.
We had several people that would come in with fake IDs.
And there was a lot of problems with children getting in trouble and doing things they probably shouldn't be doing.
What's the worst that could happen? As long as nobody dies, you can do all kinds of incredible stuff.
This is the history of Disney's Pleasure Island. In May of 1986, Disney announced a surprising new addition to their Florida property, a nightclub complex called Pleasure Island. This would, of course, be the brainchild of newly appointed Disney CEO Michael Eisner, taking direct inspiration and eventually the business of downtown Orlando's nightclub complex, Church Street Station. Church Street, which had opened its clubs in the 70s, had become the place for adult nighttime entertainment in Orlando. Up until that point, Disney World was its theme parks, a safe place for family-friendly entertainment. Even the idea of Disney selling alcohol was still sort of a foreign concept.
It was a shock. I was actually thrilled that they built an adult park, something for the adults to do.
Yeah, we were a little confused, as you can imagine. Of course, once we got here, our answers were quickly.
It was needed at that time. There weren't that many places to go. Most everybody would go downtown to Church Street Station, so having some bars and some lounges and comedy and all that over here on this side was where it was.
Pleasure Island would begin construction in August of 1986, taking over a previously undeveloped area of their Lake Buena Vista shopping village. It would be a part of a massive Disney World expansion in the late 80s. Simultaneously, construction was underway on 4 new Disney resorts, a water park, and their MGM Studios park, with both Pleasure Island and MGM Studios announced to be opening on the same day, May 1st of 1989.
At night, the action shifts to Pleasure Island, a glittering action-filled nightclub area that designer Chris Carradine says follows a theme.
What they'll see is a street party, 7 nightclubs that run the gamut from country western, a comedy warehouse, a journey into the illusion of adventure, world travel that's been contained in artifacts on the walls of the Adventurers Club, the Zephyr Rock and Rollerdrome, which combines roller skating, live and discotheque dancing, and a bar and grill into a single nightclub, Mannequins Dance Theater, which you'll just have to see when it opens to believe it.
Having attended one of the test parties over the weekend, this may well be the one element that truly makes Disney World a complete resort. Pleasure Island is due to open at the end of May, and those are only the projects that are public. No telling what those Imagineers have under their ears.
So I started out at Pleasure Island as a technician in the entertainment tech field, and so I was there about 10 days before. We were in scramble mode. I was the last technical person hired. They had the opening, and there were all kinds of stars and everything for the studios. Pleasure Island was the after party. At the time, Pleasure Island billed itself as Disney, adult entertainment. That night sure proved it because it was just jam-packed.
Pleasure Island, featuring a variety of night spots, shops, restaurants, and a nightly street festival that has everyone dancing in the streets.
It's just a place to go at night. I mean, everyone's here, dancing, comedy, anything you want to do, it's right here.
Pleasure Island featured a multitude of restaurants, shops, and 8 unique nightclubs. Today, we start right here, what many consider the former main entrance of Pleasure Island. Back in the 80s and 90s, this bridge would look very different. Flanked by ticket booths, which were actually repurposed train cars from the old Fort Wilderness Railroad. This is where guests could purchase entry into the clubs they wished to visit, and later on, when procedures changed, entry into the island. Passing beneath the iconic Pleasure Island neon sign and across the bridge, you would find yourself at our first club, Mannequins Dance Palace.
Hi, my name is James Gonzalez. I worked at Pleasure Island at Mannequins. I was a doorman from 1994 to 1998. Mannequins was the one club to always guarantee to have a line. People would be out there for at least 40 minutes to get in.
Mannequins Dance Palace was a multi-story dance club which featured mostly techno-trance music, sprinkled in with a few remixes of modern hits of its time. To help with crowd control and a bit more of an exclusive feel, Mannequins' main entrance was an elevator.
The elevator was just a basic elevator. Nothing special about it, didn't play any music or anything. You could hear the house music in the background. Take you to the second floor and people would get off and that's where they would spread out.
Mannequins was the coolest nightclub. Just imagine this huge warehouse on the inside, dark, industrial, with a huge rotating dance floor and confetti dropped at the end of every night. It was just amazing.
Mannequins was out of control, and that's probably a nice way to put it. Definitely some tablespoons of debauchery floating around at times, but that club was intense.
It was the largest capacity club on all of Pleasure Island, and oh boy did the crowds show up. The building featured a state-of-the-art lighting and sound system that would often be accompanied by short stage shows or moments scheduled throughout the night.
There was multiple dance shows inside Mannequins. The main one was called the Phantom of the Opera. It actually was one of the most popular show on the island.
It was a very theatrical climax to an evening at Mannequins, and a fan favorite for both vacationers and locals alike. Second to Mannequins, one of the most popular spots on the island was the Rock and Roll Beach Club. Back when the island opened in 1989, Disney had envisioned this as a huge multi-purpose venue. Zephyr's Rock and Roller Dome was 3 levels. The first, a traditional dance floor and stage for a live rock band, and the second, a roller skating rink, but also a balcony at the same time. A unique concept which proved to be a bit more dangerous than Disney had hoped. The roller skating feature was removed following multiple injuries, and so was the venue's roller dome theme, although the high-energy rock and roll experience remained.
All right, Rob Dexter, bass player and singer for Kabang.
I'm Steve Bell. I was a singer-guitar player as well in Kabang from 2000-2008, primarily at the Rock and Roll Beach Club, but we did a lot of dates out there on the West End stage as well here at Pleasure Island. That's what our thing was.
Yeah,
and,
I think I preferred to play the Beach Club because it was more personal. You had people right against the stage. Yeah, we didn't fit the mold of a typical Disney band.
Not at all. And back in the mid-90s, our hair was down to our butt. I mean, you know how the rock and roll thing is.
Similar to Mannequins, the Rock and Roll Beach Club had guests entering into the club via a balcony and looking down onto the main floor. The major difference was, it was the 3rd floor balcony, and you had to take the exterior stairs. Once inside, it was non-stop rock.
Even our agent had said to us it was probably the best house gig in the country. As far as Disney was concerned, they never said anything about our material.
We played, towards the end of the night, some of the heaviest stuff.
Corn.
And as long as we didn't cuss, they were good.
Yeah, and that was it in drinking, obviously. You couldn't.
Yeah, no drinking.
You couldn't drink. And
not only would the Rock and Roll Beach Club feature local rock favorites, but once in a while, they'd host showcases of new and up-and-coming artists. In fact, the Beach Club was the location of one of the first live performances from a little-known boy band called NSYNC.
Put your hands together! Let's get ready to rumble. It's JC, Joey, Chris, Justin, and Lance. NSYNC! Let's do it!
South of the Rock and Roll Beach Club, right next to Mannequins, was a bit of a different vibe. The Pleasure Island Jazz Company provided live entertainment for mostly an older crowd, featuring world-class jazz musicians, some that took residence at the club and some big names in the jazz world as well. The club opened in 1993, 4 years after Pleasure Island debuted. This location was previously home to a food court named Merriweather's Market, named after the island's fictional founder, Meriwether Adam Pleasure. See, around the island you'd be able to find plaques posted outside almost every nightclub, restaurant, or shop. These would provide fictional backstories on how the island came to be, with an unnecessary amount of detail. For example, Imagineers went all out to create a backstory on why there was a spinning dance floor and mannequins in the rafters of Mannequins. As the story goes, it was a canvas fabrication factory in the 1930s. Then, this is where they built steam and magnetic-powered locomotives, then yada yada yada. One thing I know for sure is that the people attending the island, and even those working there, for the most part, had no idea about the Merryweather Pleasure backstory, as 0 of the 6 I interviewed for this project knew what I was referring to. As much as the online message boards and Disney history forums like to tout the island's deep lore and backstory after the fact, a majority of those who were actually there were more focused on having the best time possible. Now, the nightclub offerings when Pleasure Island opened in 1989 were catering to a very wide audience. Not only did they want something for mom and dad to do, but Disney aimed to provide a spot for their teenage crowd as well.
There was a specific club called Videopolis East, which was a kind of a copy of Videopolis out in California. Of course, you're coming at the end of the 80s, so you're on the tail end of the MTV years. You've had 10 years of MTV, so you've had 10 years of all these videos.
The idea was to create a high-tech teen dance club, where those Pleasure Island patrons under the age of 21 could hang out, while their parents were off elsewhere. It was a concept that had already been a proven success out at Disneyland in California, except this time it would be positioned in between a bunch of different adult clubs that were selling alcohol.
It was an interesting idea, but it was not the best idea. And there was a lot of problems with children getting hurt and in trouble and doing things they probably shouldn't be doing. So that closed relatively quickly.
One of the main reasons I kind of wanted to talk to you too is because Videopolis East was open for such a short period of time, so it's kind of hard to find people that worked there in general. Like, how long exactly do you remember were you working there for? Like, were you there up until it closed?
Now, the business model at the time was you had to pay to get in the clubs. The island was free. You could walk on and off all you want to. You just needed to pay to get into the clubs. And so everybody was saying, we really need to just ticket the island. Basically, Pleasure Island became, especially Videopolis East, became like a little babysitting place. Hey, mom and dad are going to go over here and, cut a rug someplace. You kids do whatever you want to do, just don't leave the island. Well, there were all kinds of great things for kids to do that were passive.
It was terrible for those working there. It was a very difficult position to be in, to have to deal with a bunch of kids without parents, and alcohol that was involved, not in that club, obviously, but the access to it. And there was a lot of gang activity when the island first opened because we did not have it gated.
In July of that first year, a fight involving a group of teenagers broke out just outside of Videopolis East on Pleasure Island, 2 of which were stabbed during the altercation. A full recovery was made, but as a result of this incident, and I'm sure many others of lesser severity, it was decided that Videopolis East would close. At the time, Pleasure Island would also start charging a flat entry fee and require wristbands to enter the island.
And so when you ticket the island, well, now we can't drop the kids off. We have to pay ticket to get in. The kids don't want to have to pay ticket to get into that. They would rather do something else. So it became quite obvious that they were going to have to retheme the club.
Videopolis East would become Cage, a 21-plus venue playing mostly alternative and industrial music.
When it became the Cage, now that we had a little bit more focus rather than Videopolis East, this had a little bit more focus. It's adult themed. We thought, well, maybe it's a little dystopian sort of thing. We never got to go take it all the way there. We kept the lasers. We kept all the lighting, of course, regelled some stuff.
Cage was only open for 2 years before closing again to be rethemed to 8 Tracks, a 70s and 80s themed dance club, which had become much more popular than either of its 2 predecessors and lasted much, much longer. For those not feeling the groove, there were some other options for entertainment around Pleasure Island. The first was a comedy club called the Comedy Warehouse. From the outside, the Comedy Warehouse would maintain the same former factory feel as Mannequins. Once inside, you'd find nearly every inch of the walls covered with props and signs from around the Disney World parks, including some rare Easter eggs for those die-hard Epcot fans with a keen eye. The theater itself was small enough to feel intimate and promote some crowd participation. This also meant it would almost always have a line waiting outside for the next show, which wasn't really a problem because guests and cast members alike adored this show.
Hi, my name is Deb Marino. I worked from PI from 1991 until 2004 and various different locations and jobs, all the way from tickets and parking to every single club, bartending, events. I even did some crazy stuff for, well, I can't talk about that. Comedy Warehouse was a straight up improv theater. It was basically Whose Line Is It Anyway before Whose Line Is It Anyway existed, even the British version. Comedy Warehouse, initially, it was a scripted show.
Comedy Warehouse's first show, titled Forbidden Disney, was a family-friendly parody show covering all things you'd never expect Disney to allow as part of a live show they produced, poking fun at the long lines, some of the not-so-great food, and how expensive it was to go to Disney. Oh, if they only knew. Once the jump was made to an almost strictly improv format, that was when the show's fan base really grew.
The skits were hilarious, and if you worked for Disney, they were a lot of inside jokes that maybe other people didn't get.
Obviously, being at Disney, there were rules for the improv. They couldn't just say whatever they wanted. They did say some things that were seen as, I guess, blue, but in our time now, people would be like, that's not terrible. But in 1991, 1997, they would have been like, oh dear, like I can't believe you said that.
What is the matter with you now?
Look, you're shouting and people are starting to stare.
Oh, really? People are staring at us? Really? Are they looking? Okay, how about I give them something to look at? Yeah, there's the Magic Kingdom.
Across the walkway from the Comedy Warehouse was the Adventurers Club. From the mind of legendary Imagineer Joe Rowdy, the Adventurers Club took guests to a private club for world travelers and explorers set in 1937. Now this would take place within the world of Adventureland from Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom. The Adventurers Club would be occupied by a cast of over-the-top explorers, a cabaret singer, a butler, a maid, as well as stationary characters that were mounted to the wall and would talk to guests.
Yeah, and one of the things that a lot of people who came to Adventurers Club probably didn't realize was that all of the things that were puppeteered, the Colonel, the Genie, the talking head on the wall, they were all puppeteered, moved in the back by sound and movement people, but there were people talking in the back, the actors, that were voicing all of them, which was also really cool to kind of be in the backstage area to watch them work while they're talking and looking at the camera, at the people with them and freaking them out, wondering how do they know what I'm wearing and why do they... And as one of the bartenders, you got to mess with people by like pressing a secret button to make the stools go up and down, and it went down really slow so people wouldn't even realize it. All of a sudden they'd just be like on the ground almost.
The night was filled with moments in different rooms around the club, following a cohesive story that would sometimes be a bit hard to follow if you were to show up mid-set. After all, it was a new concept in immersive theater that had yet to be fully realized to a mainstream audience. In its later years, the Adventurers Club had grown a huge fan base, many of which were Orlando locals. By far, out of all of the clubs on the island, this is the one that has received the most praise and admiration from theme park fans worldwide. It was the unofficial birthplace of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, Disney's Adventureland-based universe that would eventually find their way into the parks and the big screen. Next to the Adventurers Club was the last of the opening day nightclubs, the Neon Armadillo, a country-themed Western club which featured live country bands. This proved to be fairly popular when country line dancing exploded in popularity in the early 90s. As all of that line dancing worked up an appetite, just outside of the limits of the island's gates were a handful of good eats. First, the Fireworks Factory. Themed after exactly what the name implies, they served American barbecue and signature cocktails with explosive theming.
So there were a lot of fireworks theming on the inside, crates of TNT, so to speak.
Did you know that at Fireworks Factory, when you sat at the main bar, there was a line of, it looked like mirrors, but you could watch the guys pee on the other side? I used to laugh.
Wait, you could see into there? I thought it was only, like it was a one-way where you could, inside, you could look out.
Oh no, I could see people.
Those looking for a bit more privacy while using the restroom during dinner could grab some homemade pasta or brick oven pizza from the Portobello Yacht Club. Or, if you've got an appetite for seafood, the Empress Lily Riverboat was the place for you. Pleasure Island, as you would expect, had a multitude of gift shops and other forms of entertainment outside of the clubs and restaurants. Perhaps the most recognizable was a gift shop at the center of the island, Jessica's. With the popularity of Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the late 80s and early 90s, Disney aimed to get these new popular characters in their theme parks wherever they could. It kind of felt like Jessica Rabbit was slowly becoming the new Betty Boop, or at least that's what Disney was trying to do. This particular shop mainly sold everything you can imagine with Jessica Rabbit on it. Disney inadvertently created a sort of icon of Pleasure Island, with the shop's neon Jessica Rabbit becoming a mainstay even after the gift shop closed and she was moved over to the West End. There were plenty of other gift shops as well, like Yesterears, selling throwback Mickey memorabilia, and one other that stood out from the rest. Superstar Studios gave guests the ability to star in their own high-tech music videos and purchase what I could only assume was the world's shortest VHS tape to take home with them. It was one of the only spots on the island that saw frequent business both from families during the day and drunk adults belting out Bon Jovi at night. As the island would head into its second year of operation, its popularity would begin to dwindle. That, mixed with the gang activity and issues of underage drinking, it was time for a change. A fairly new hire to the Walt Disney Company, Art Levitt, was sent in to restructure the island, figure out what was working, and more importantly, what wasn't. The multiple changes to Videopolis, the Rock and Roller Dome becoming the Rock and Roll Beach Club, and the introduction of the Jazz Club would happen eventually. But these were minor changes in the grand scheme of things. The year following its opening, the island would undergo a marketing overhaul. The first was the introduction of its new logo. This new design would feature Pleasure Island's now iconic Funmeister character at the center. The Funmeister would appear across all marketing materials, in multiple visual markers around the island, and a few special parade floats, but never officially as a meet and greet character. Although, on rare occasions, a homemade version of him might have showed up at a few cast member events. The second step in Pleasure Island's marketing shift was an event. They had to create something big, like New Year's Eve, except every night.
The night of April 7th exploded with a new look for Pleasure Island, the nighttime hotspot of the Disney Kingdom.
Now every night is New Year's Eve at Pleasure Island.
That's right. Whether it's December 31st or July 1st, guests can count down to midnight every night with a New Year's street party celebration.
The New Year's every night marketing tactic proved to be an instant success, and it was a big risk, pouring more money into the clubs and outdoor entertainment budget while at the same time closing off the island to guests. The thought was that creating a loud party atmosphere would cause those visiting downtown Disney to feel like they were missing out. They would then purchase entry into the island, join the party, buy drinks, the whole 9 yards. To Disney's surprise, it worked. To add to the island's outdoor offerings, around this time Disney constructed the West End stage, an outdoor stage that was, for the most part, there as a central hub for the New Year's countdown, but quite often was reserved for larger touring acts. Over the years, there were countless big names that would perform on the West End stage. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, the B-52s, Johnny Cash, Styx, Boy George, Christina Aguilera, Duran Duran, Hootie and the Blowfish, and many more. Pleasure Island became the place to be for nighttime entertainment at Disney World. Anytime celebrities would be in town, they would often be spotted at Pleasure Island.
Let's see, I was able to meet, saw Snoop Dogg and his entourage a couple times here.
See this guy headbanging. I'm like, wow, this guy's really into it. It was Drew Carey.
Yeah.
So we come off the stage, and he's like, it's funny, he's coming to us like, oh my God, every time I'm here, I love watching you guys are great. I'm like, really?
There was one time that Michael Jackson came in the booth. I got to shake the gloved hand. He came in right when we were doing Pump Up a Jam. We had a really good light program going to that. Very energetic crowd. He saw it, this is cool, he liked it, and he walked out. But when he walked out, everybody realized, oh, Michael Jackson's in here. And it didn't take long. This was a wave of information spreading through the crowd. Michael Jackson's in here. So he left, and all the kids left too. And so the rest of the night, we didn't do anything. We just kind of played music just for ourselves because everybody was following Michael Jackson.
Neil Patrick Harris actually was a doll. He and his brother came to Comedy Warehouse to see a show. And at the time, he was still, Neil Patrick Harris was only like maybe 18, 19 years old, and I was just barely 21. And his brother clearly did not know that he was gay, and asked me if I could hang out with them, to be like, hang out with his brother. And so I was like, okay. So we went to the Laughing Kookaburra. I snuck him in, underage. And I told him that night though at the Kookaburra, I was like, dude, I know you're gay and it's cool. Like, I won't tell anybody. He was a really nice person. I wonder if he even remembers that. That would be a weird thing to remember.
Even though guests would be able to experience New Year's Eve every single night of the year, there was one night a week that seemed to be a little bit more wild than the rest.
Thursday nights used to be cast member nights.
Yeah.
So they would pay their employees on Thursday and let them into Pleasure Island free. Because they weren't stupid, right?
You know, it makes you kind of think, are they they're giving you your paycheck same night? They're going to be offering a cast member discount. You get a little discount with your ID.
While Disney cast members were some of the most well-behaved, a typical night at Pleasure Island would see its fair share of mischief.
And every once in a while, after people, probably had too many libations, they would end up in the creek.
And one guy did it, and he came out with leeches all over him.
Mannequins being a Disney club was also an over 21 club. So we had several people that would come in with fake IDs. I hate to say it, but especially a lot of the tourists from out of town, they would always say, well, I'm going to be 21 in a month. I'm going to be 21 next week. It never worked with us. We'd always check the IDs thoroughly, and you could only get in if you were 21 and up.
I think it started to be a little bit of a liability around here. I think things were getting a little over the top. It wasn't uncommon to see the cops here, dealing with an issue here and there, which I don't care what company you are, you don't want that kind of, baggage.
Throughout the 90s, while Disney World's attendance grew and grew, Pleasure Island remained a mainstay. There were a handful of changes made to the clubs and restaurants throughout the years. The Neon Armadillo was changed to the BET soundstage. The Pleasure Island Jazz Company would eventually become an Irish pub called Raglan Road. The Fireworks Factory went through a full overhaul and was converted into the Wild Horse Saloon, taking over the country music reins from the Neon Armadillo when it closed in 1998. A few years later, the venue was changed yet again to a top 40s dance club called Motion. Like any shopping mall or entertainment complex after its first 10 years, there was a worry of Pleasure Island becoming slightly stale, but attendance numbers weren't really being affected quite yet. With the opening of Planet Hollywood just outside the main gates of Pleasure Island in 1994, there became a real sense of happening. The novelty movie-themed restaurant chain brought new life into the downtown Disney complex as a whole. Pleasure Island from the mid to late 90s was the place to be. Between the year 2000 and about 2006, the island's offerings would slowly begin to be pulled back.
I did work at Pleasure Island for close to 15 years, just under that, and a lot of things changed throughout the years. I know that a lot of cast members, including myself, were very upset about some of the changes that happened, including just taking off entertainment from the streets, closing certain clubs. It had definitely started to dwindle after 9/11. The night after 9/11 was pretty crazy, and they took off all outside entertainment for that whole first year. It was obviously for safety reasons initially, but then they decided it was saving them money, and I feel like that's kind of was the beginning of the end. Without outdoor entertainment, what's the point of even coming? And then they started shortening the times of even comedy shows, when they were or how often we'd have them, and I feel like they kind of slit our throats there, because they really did not want the nighttime entertainment complex anymore. It definitely was just something that they wanted to do to wash their hands of this amazing, fantastic thing that they built.
So you were here from the mid-2000s until Pleasure Island closed. Did you sort of see it coming? Was this something that was...
Yeah, I think everybody felt it, and that's... I think that goes down to the techs, to the people that worked in the clubs. Yeah, but you could kind of sense it, you could, and it was a slow death.
Yeah.
It wasn't like all of a sudden we showed up and we're gone.
And I think also Universal kind of gave them a run for their money, with City Walk.
In 1999, just down the road, Universal Studios had expanded their property from one theme park to 2 parks and a sort of downtown Disney of their own. With shopping, restaurants, nightclubs, and live music, bringing big names like Hard Rock, Margaritaville, Bubba Gump, NBA, and NASCAR, which certainly didn't help Pleasure Island's draw. Disney wasn't really helping themselves either. Downtown Disney had nearly doubled in size in the late 90s, with the House of Blues, Cirque du Soleil, and even Disney Quest providing more and more entertainment options for guests, and more importantly, the whole family to do after a day at the parks.
In my time period here, they were always packed. It was constantly growing. I never seen any hitch at all. It actually got stronger. That's why I was shocked when it closed. I was really shocked. I was like, holy crap.
When they started closing other places and saying that they needed to have more restaurants and that people wanted more restaurants and more shops, that's when we started really questioning, what is this really about? I feel like they were just trying too hard to make things new instead of working with what we had that was already working really, really well and just making it better. I came back for the last night though. It was amazing.
On September 27th of 2008, Pleasure Island would see its final night of operation. As one would expect, the island was packed. It was a celebration of the last 19 years of the greatest party in Central Florida. Most of those in attendance were cast members and local regulars to the island. Many of the clubs had close to an hour-long wait just to get inside. It was the last hurrah, and by the end of the night, they still weren't ready to see it go.
Any given night, I would say a vast majority of people that would be in Pleasure Island would be locals, and it would be people who actually worked at the parks. Being in my early 20s, living here in Orlando in the area, Pleasure Island was a big part of my social life.
You know, the mentality here at Disney, as you know, is it's vacation time. So people are leaving the work behind, they're leaving the schedules behind. So when they come to the, Pleasure Island or Disney in general, usually people are in a different mindset. I'll tell you, we met some great people.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we both met our wives playing at Pleasure Island.
We did.
I think working there as a cast member for me was an exercise in how much you could get away with. Basically, kind of taught me in my overall career, just take a chance. What's the worst that could happen? As long as nobody dies, you can do all kinds of incredible stuff.
Everybody that worked at Pleasure Island were friendly. There was no animosity that I seen at all. Everybody got along great. I made some lifelong friends working at Pleasure Island for sure.
I was just 18 when I started working at Pleasure Island. It was the first time I was away from my mom. I had no family around. I was on my own, but it was the best, most amazing time. I feel like it made me 100% the person who I am. Such a wonderful, beautiful thing to be a part of and to help grow, watch it turn into the thing that it did. For a long time, it was a really awesome place to be. And I can't imagine ever speaking to anybody who worked at Pleasure Island that doesn't feel the same way.
During the filming of this project, I was fortunate enough to be able to revisit the former Pleasure Island, now Disney Springs, with some of the amazing people who made it happen.
Yeah, it's actually weird coming back here. It doesn't even look the same at all. I mean, some of the outlines of the building are obviously the same. Looks like the siding is still the warehouse.
We don't have a reservation or anything like that. Did you still work here, like, how many years ago?
When this was Mannequins, the dance club.
20 years ago, something like that. Is it okay if we just, take a look around or something like that?
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to look.
You guys have an elevator back here?
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, there used to be, they closed off the elevator because there used to be an elevator door here. And when you walked in and got up, this would definitely open up and go to the second floor. Wow, this is crazy. This is unbelievable. Oh wow, memories. Yeah, you'd walk out here, there'd be a bar this way, there'd be a bar off to the side this way, but the stairs are still the same. First time I stepped inside there in 27 years, that's so bizarre to me. It's changed so much, the whole structure of it. I'm glad they got to repurpose it though, and just didn't tear it down. That's actually a benefit.
Nearly 20 years removed from when the island closed, if you know what you're looking for, you could still find some bones of what used to be. Perhaps the most obvious is Mannequins, now the restaurant Morimoto Asia, the Comedy Warehouse, STK, BET Soundstage, Maria and Enzo's. The Adventurers Club was completely gutted, but maintains mostly the same layout in the Edison. The generification of the former Pleasure Island was a long, drawn-out process. Once the clubs closed in September of 2008, there was a few years where the buildings just sat there. Some daytime entertainment was introduced to help liven up the area while guests cut through, and eventually, in 2010, Disney would begin the complete demolition of the Rock and Roll Beach Club and Motion.
Yeah, and I want to say the Beach Club was what, where that tree is, something
right
like that. And yeah, it was. They used to have PI Live. They used to have a DJ up there all the time as well. You know, playing your hits, playing your requests.
In total, it ended up taking nearly 7 years to reopen the repurposed venues. And in April of 2015, exactly 20 years after Pleasure Island debuted, what is now called The Landing opened at Disney Springs.
You know, there is still one Easter egg of the old Pleasure Island here at Disney Springs. You can actually find it over by House of Blues. So back in 1997, the House of Blues was a part of the West Side expansion to downtown Disney, and that's when this was built.
You can find this concrete archway on the back side of the House of Blues. It was created to match the same art style you'll find inside the venue and other House of Blueses around the United States, but this one is special. Inside of the concrete is a hodgepodge of random items. Just about eye level on the left-hand side, you'd find a name tag of a Pleasure Island cast member. A quick Google search will reveal that this once belonged to Janet from Chicago, Illinois. But at some point in the last 28 years, half of it has been broken off, and this is exactly why we can't have nice things.
As someone who lives 25 minutes from the former downtown Disney, there's not a single week that goes by where at some point I don't turn to a friend and say, you know what I wish we had? Pleasure Island. So let me ask you, if you could go back and visit Pleasure Island during its prime, would you? A simple yes or no in all caps will do, but please comment. It's really the only way I know that you made it this far in the video.
First and foremost, thank you to every single cast member, construction worker, Imagineer, whoever that made Pleasure Island a reality. Thank you to Debbie, Scott, James, Dana, Rob, and Steve for taking the time to sit down and discuss your experiences at Pleasure Island. There's absolutely no way this video would have happened without you. If you are interested in seeing the full sit-down interviews from any of these former Pleasure Island superstars, they are available right now for free on my Patreon in the description.
As always, thank you to Roosevelt's for providing my threads for this video. And if you're interested in more theme park history, watch as I recap the rise and fall of Disney's indoor interactive theme park, Disney Quest, right here, or one of my all-time favorite videos over on the other side. As always, I am Ryan. This has been For the Love of Theme Parks, and I will see you all real soon. Bye.